Hi, everyone. I'm Shelly Dressel. I channel the universal light beings, and tonight is a channeled session that I have set up for you. We're going to talk with Albayon, Brysentia, Crystallia, and they're just going to talk about things that are happening in the universe and on the earth plane. Frequently, they'll talk about various political things that are going on. So it's just got all sorts of different things. So if you're here live, thank you. I already see a bunch of you in here, so thank you for being here. Stinson Beach. I know someone else in Stinson Beach. Is this Jill or is this someone else? Anyway. So anyway, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. Denmark, good to have you. It's the middle of the night for you, I believe, right? Rumble from Cumming, Arkansas, and Rosalie 2020. Yep, thank you. So several things I want to say before we get started. First and foremost, I'm now sharing this on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook, and then of course I posted also, I think, in Telegram. I might just have the link in Telegram. Anyway, a couple of the not questions but responses I get that I really truly appreciate is, oh, this came right at the perfect time, or oh, I'm so glad to hear their messages again. And oftentimes it's, there's so much negativity right now, and you bring in such positive energy. So thank you for those comments. Thank you for acknowledging it. I feel the same way, because there's a lot of stuff that I will read, and I've got one good friend, and we frequently are talking about this, and it's like, we gotta just, sorry, there was a cord in my way. I kept kicking it with my feet. The next thing I envisioned was my whole computer flipping over backwards. Hello again. I get so irritated with electronics. My computer, okay, so first and foremost, I've been over at my daughter's house. I was there about 6 days, did a few things on the computer, not much of anything. For whatever reason, in the middle of now, nothing popped up, nothing. It decided it was time to reboot and update. So it just rebooted and it just updated everything, and now I'm back. Oh my goodness. So anyway, sorry about that. I had no idea. Yeah, your Rumble keeps freezing. Well, it kept freezing probably, Leslie, because of this rebooting, and StreamYard was not working. So anyway, Leslie, can you let me know if it's working better for you now? Because I'm back up here. So Leslie here from Brookhaven. Deborah, good to see you. Ken, good to see you. Pam, Rosalie, again, I mentioned it. And then Barbara, Kim. So thank you everyone for being here. So funny. Yeah. Totally lost my train of thought, but I think what I was trying to say is that talking about that people okay, now let's think, is there an ulterior message that was coming on? So I'm sitting here talking about how when you're listening to these people and they're negative, and the world's going to crash, the financial's going to crash, you're not going to have any food, your debit card's not going to work, everything's going to be shut down. And I mean, how could you not feel anxious and afraid? And so I'm glad that I have someone, and I hope everybody has someone that you can reach out to and say, hey, did you listen to this? And it's always imperative to listen to your intuition. And in my mind, be logical about things. Be logical about the fact that, if billions of people live upon the planet, and not all of those billions of people have only, gold and silver, then it's not going to crash. It's not going to do that. It is just impossible. So anyway, think logical about some of these things. Be present in the moment. And this is just me talking. I'm sure the ULBs will say something too. Okay, I see that it's working and I'm back. Yeah, because now my computer's been rebooted. And maybe that was something trying to say, hey, we don't want you talking about being positive. So I don't know. Anyway, so there is a lot that's going on, and coming from, being with the kids all that time, of course, it was just really different and really busy. And, having four, there's always someone talking and they're running and they're, just something constantly, which I love. I'm so very, very fortunate, and I absolutely love that. It was great. So then when I was so tired today, I thought, well, okay, I'm just recuperating from that. And then I happened to read a friend of mine that wrote on here about this massive, massive solar flare that just came through. And suddenly you got to look at things from multiple levels, from the fact that, are you just tired because you're doing a lot, or is your DNA being regenerated? Is your energy being rebooted? Are there other things that might be going on in the background that you're not aware of, or you have forgotten about? So I think most often it's multiple different levels of things that are happening, and that's what's doing that. Hello again, and people from Australia, good to have you. And the Bronx, good to have you. Is Rumble consorting as well nowadays? Okay, so that was the next thing that I wanted to share. For those of you that are subscribed to me, I guess it's those of you subscribed to me, you know how I set this up, and then I sent out the email saying that I have this channel coming up tonight. Interesting. I got something from Rumble that they got something from Rumble saying that I was asking for money, or I was asking for something. So, as you've probably heard from many other people, don't pay attention to that. I send out the emails only a few times a month, and otherwise everything is done through my website, or I will respond back to people that have already contacted me first. So I'm not just sending out these random emails, especially not through Rumble, especially not through Facebook, and especially not through YouTube. The only times I'm communicating for those things would be in the comment section, or to say there's a channel coming up. So just wanted to be clear about that too. And it's just a thing these days. It's happening. I hear it from other people that I listen to. So I guess now I'm one of the big dogs. Whoop whoop. That they feel like they need to attach that to my name or my channel also. So very aggravating. But again, this is also a part of the discernment. If you get something and you think, does this seem real? Is this legit? Then chances are it's not legit. If anything goes through your mind and that question that's part of your mind is this legit? Then to me, that's a big, huge red flag, says, no, it's not. So anyway, just a big reminder of that for everybody as we get started. So now that I have flashed a few times on my end, apparently, I mean, it looks to me like my Wi-Fi is good. I am just, like maybe 10 feet, 12 feet from my Wi-Fi, not far away. And it seemed to have been running well all day long. So hopefully this is going to be fine. But I don't know. Okay, so I am just going to jump into it. If you would like to work privately with me, there are some options available. I have been thinking more term. I know I say this every single time, and one of these days I'm just going to sit down and do it. But in talking about classes, I know I've had classes in the past, and so I'm going to see about either rewriting those and putting something up there. The other thing that comes up is, I know there's frequently a lot of people that I know there's a lot of you that do, and thank you, listen to the whole entire channel. But I know there are others that might come back to it piecemeal and or only listen to it a little bit at a time. I don't know how else to do this. I don't know how to make it shorter without it becoming something that just gets really a burden. So I'm going to continue to do the hour and a half or whatever it ends up being. But I did want to say that I have thought about that too, because that's another comment. It's so long. It takes so long to listen to it. So I know I know. Okay, but just listen in pieces if that's the way it needs to be. Okay. Let me get quiet here and I'm going to go into channel. I have heard a little bit. Oh, that reminds me. So someone had written a comment under the where I had posted on Rumble that this channel was coming up tonight, asking me a question about Netanyahu. Well, I just talked about that in our last channel. So probably not going to talk about it again. If there is something that is on your mind, and maybe I have just talked about it recently, I don't really want to talk about the same things over and over and over again. So maybe look at some of the titles or look through the write-up of it. You know, Alexander posts every single question that people ask, and then I try to go in and write a few of the topics that they talk about before we get to the question and answer. So so keep an eye out for that and see if it's something that has already been done recently, and chances are I'd rather talk about more new and different things instead of just repeating the same thing over and over again. Shoot, I need to get going, but I will just say this for like someone that wrote to me, and probably what this person's talking about, I can't believe that he's a bad person. We all have become very disappointed, many of us, in the government as it is right now. I mean, I'm an American and I have a very strong loyalty to the country, but to the country of its people, not to the politicians, not to the corporations that have been so corrupt, not to that have their name of, you know, the United States, but they're still the soul of the country. And that's what I am. You know, that's what I most resonate with, and that's what I support, and that's what I, you know, have always loved. So if you're disappointed finding out that your government actually turned out to be pretty darn corrupt, it's a big disappointment. 100% agree. 100% agree. But the biggest thing to know about that is that people that are learning about it, we're right here already taking those people down and replacing it with something that is true and that is more what's the word, balanced, and that is filled with something that is supportive of humanity, not trying to control and manipulate humanity. Okay, I think I've said everything. I got a little thrown off there. I had these things in mind to mention up front. And I just got thrown off when my computer rebooted, and then the screen froze, and then here we go. Greetings. It is I, Crystallia. I chose to come in at the very beginning here because, as you know, I represent what is coming in. I represent the energy, the frequency of love, the energy and the frequency of what you will be living within in your life. Living within, or however you want to express that. You will express your life through love and light and balance. This is the crisis situation. I know that Shelly did one of those mini channels with Albayon and said, yeah, you're in the crisis right now. And you have been for a while, as so many of you are very well aware. But whenever, whether it's this we're talking about, or whether it's something that is happening in your life, remember that when in a crisis situation, go inside, connect to your soul, and feel the love, the strength, and the support that is coming to you from your divinity. Because that is what gets everyone through whenever there's a hard time. It's your constant awareness of who you are as a human, of who you are as this soul energy. And it is that constant awareness that you, the people, you, the humans running around on this earth, living your life, you are the ones that make a difference. It is so easy to get caught up in situations. Your emotions may be triggering something from your unconsciousness. Your thoughts, your mind, your beliefs, your reality may pull something that is triggered from sometime in your past, maybe not even this lifetime, maybe other lifetimes. So it is very understanding that you can go down these rabbit holes, as you guys like to call them, that will take you into a place of depression, sadness, fear, frustration, whatever that may be. However, you can also choose to acknowledge it and understand that, hey, this is what's going on in the world, in the people around me, perhaps my family members, perhaps even me. But I'm going to be very aware of it. I'm going to intend that ding, 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 those warning bells will come on so that I don't go down that rabbit hole, so that I can once again shift my focus, shift my consciousness, and come back into balance. We talk about the soul, and most often people say, oh yeah, I know the soul. I have a soul. Yep, I know what that is. Do you comprehend, though, that your soul is actually your alignment frequently to the many other people that you are communicating with? You are actually creating relationships, sometimes through the eons, sometimes in what you might consider your future life, sometimes in what might be your very long in the past life. However, it all swirls together into this now moment. And the relationships that you are creating up at the level of your soul are those God-felt, God-aligned relationships. These are the ones that nurture you. These are the ones that give you those creative ideas that allow you to make changes in your life. These are the ones that give you the alternative thinking and the alternative awareness that will, in fact, allow you to have that life that you seek. Yes, indeed, God, soul, source is there in support of you. The biggest lesson from all of this is not to turn over everything to someone else. It's to understand that you are supported, that you are loved, that you are balanced. And what you then turn around and do with that is the way that you are creating your life. So consider that. This picture that Shelly has behind me, it sits well with my soul. Consider, if you will, oh boy, that just brought up a whole lot of emotion. What sits well with your soul on a daily basis? In the way that you work with people. Sorry, Shelly's literally sweating. She needs to turn down the air. Literally, on a daily basis, you can ask yourself that question. What sits well with my soul? Because indeed, you will find that there are multitudes of different things in your everyday life that can support you and give you new ideas. Are you stuck in your life? Are you frustrated in your life? If so, create that alignment and then look outwards to others. Okay, little bit of a bandstand there, but thank you for listening to that. I was also, as we've talked about, I don't know if it was last time or the time before, I was also sending downloads into everyone, activating that within you. So let me speak to what Shelly mentioned before, which was the solar flare that came in. This was one of several that are happening at this time of the year, in this month of May, and then in the next 3 to 4 months. It's not going to be every month, and it seems a little bit random, but it's actually calculated to work in the best way possible. But these solar flares are what come on, well, you've had solar flares and you've talked about them for a very, very long time. That's not anything new. But that eclipse that took place, the lunar eclipse and then the solar eclipse, that was what really cracked open the energy. And now you have the flares coming in behind it, especially this most recent one that was huge. It was huge. And what that is doing is everyone's energy that got cracked open has now been receiving that flow of light, has been receiving that flow of energy. And this is, in some people, it's working on the DNA. Well, in most everyone, it's working on the DNA, but not everyone is going to be aware. On some people, by working on that DNA or whatever it is working on, whether it goes deeply into the DNA or just stays superficial, it's going to be a part of what awakens more people. So as Albayon spoke about the storm this month and the anxiety and things coming up to a crisis level, this is also being fueled, you might say, by people's DNA shifting and people's consciousness shifting. For those that what you call the normies, for those that are not as yet aware, in them, it may turn out that this is all something that is happening, and it begins to let them look outside and hear things that have been around them the whole time, but they didn't hear it before. Have you ever felt that, had that experience where you hear something and you think, oh my God, I just heard the most amazing thing. And then your friend or your husband or your, whomever it is that you're speaking to about it says, we've been saying that for months, if not years. So people hear things and consciously receive it at whatever time it is that they do. Therefore, during this time of crisis, I'm again not saying that to go into drama, but saying that because that is the energy of what's happening on the earth plane. When you're in a time such as this, and there's so much turmoil and so much change that's taking place back to back to back to back, then that is when you understand that these solar flares are coming in to break open the information, break open the energy that is within each one of you, so that you may then move forward in your life. As you're listening to people, Albayon and Brysentia will talk about it much more than I, but let me just say to you that we would not be here, we would not be talking to you in this way if indeed these negative forces were going to be the final outcome. They are absolutely not. They've already been resolved almost 100%. And so everything that you may hear about the control of the government, about the control of the corporations, about the control of these various groups of people, there might not even be political. Understand that that is something that is being shown up to awaken people. And therefore, in your own consciousness and awareness, send light, send awareness, and send love into whatever the situation may be. All right. I feel as if there's more to say, but I'm not sure what. Alexander, are there questions for me today? That is so strange. Well, people, do you have any questions for me? Let me talk about the multiverse as people maybe throw their questions in there. When you look at what was written in, I don't know who made those movies, but those movies that you watch, and it talks about the multiverse in those movies, it gives you a perception of understanding that comes from that human filter. Therefore, everything that you hear or everything that you learn about is coming through that human filter. And therefore, that is a perspective of what is going on. in some of the other universes, and it's kind of hard sometimes to think of that because you think of the depth and expansion of your own universe, and then there's something that's even bigger. But there are multiple ones that are associated with this planet or this universe that are very similar in the ascension process to what they are going through. Sometimes they used humans, many places throughout the universe, the other multiverse also uses humans. But then there are some entire universes where the species that live there are not at all associated with humanity, but they are instead, what would you call them? Some of them are robots like AI. Some of them are animals, and the animal forms are different than what you comprehend through here. So that's a multiverse, or I'm sorry, that's a separate universe that is simply moving through evolution in that manner. There is another multiverse that is still caught up in the control and manipulation, and that one is quite distant from yours, because think about the vibration. Think about the vibration each one of you emanates from you as you're just living your life. So there's a consciousness to your planet, which then finds a vibrational frequency of alignment with the other planets around you, which in turns creates its own consciousness of this universe, and that in turn emanates out from it. And so you find that those universes, or part of the multiverse that is most close to you, is going to resonate with a similar frequency. So this universe that we just picked up again, that part is a far distance from yours. And that's why when people, the reptilians and all of that super negative, horrible, horrific individuals have been removed, many of them have gone to that very far away multiverse. And so that human, I can already hear it in some of you. Oh my gosh, they're going to come back. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get stuck. I'm going to be in that multiverse, in that universe in the future. If you as your soul feel like you need to go through all that experience again, then yes, perhaps you will. But this is also another way that you can shift the consciousness and work with the essence of your soul, that your soul knows darn well you will never, ever go through this experience again. And I believe there are many of you that feel that way. Also, to remember that as your soul energy, it already knows. That is the God source. That is the part of you that is just so massive, and it intrinsically knows this is what needs to happen. This is an important experience, or howsoever it may go along. Anyway, I just think that that it's important for you to consider in, as you're either writing or as you're reading or as you're learning about things, to understand that in the not so distant future, I'm saying maybe 10 years, maybe less, there will begin to be an open movement between other universes in addition to your own. So by bringing it up today, that's just throwing out that intention, and it will seed within people's consciousness. And it may be that there's something for you that's going to come up from that. Okay. Alexander, I saw some questions came up. I'm not sure. Can you please give that to Albayon? Because I don't really get into the vibration and the frequency of things. But there are things that are happening this month, whether it's on that specific, I think that's at the end of the month or something like that. But there are many things that are coming down this month, and there's been a great deal of exposure already that's coming out. And what's interesting is that exposure gets put out there, and then something takes it down. And because I've seen that happening, and it's like, wait a second, didn't you already talk about this? And so something will be put out there. I'm talking mainstream. I'm talking something that that most of these people that are unaware watch and read, and then it gets taken down. So, but Albayon can talk more about that. I just see it kind of superficially. Can you talk about what's happening in Australia? See, these are not good questions for me. I'm sorry. I would really prefer that, because I have zero experience with this planet and even this universe until the last 4 or 5 years. So for me to look into some of these things, there's so many nuances that I might not even pick up on, and that's why, I'm sorry, but the other two will definitely talk about them. Do you have any information on mirror time? This is something spent looking at yourself, and saying, I love you, and say your name. Now, this is right up my alley. So here are two things that are happening when you do that. I've seen many people talking about this, and I've been working with a large number of people that are doing this. Number one, in your culture, you've been taught not to love yourself. And you've been taught to put other people first. You've been taught that you're narcissistic if you love yourself. You've been taught that you're selfish if you love yourself. And so you therefore have created a bit of a distance within yourself. And there is, be it unconscious or conscious, there's a part of you that says it's not good, quote unquote, to love yourself. And that is a massive, massive change that is taking place. And there are many people that have manifested this in many different ways. Some of them, it has been through meditations. Some of it, it's been through the other self-help books that you have. So there are multiple different ways that you can open up to this. But this one that she's talking about, if you can look at yourself and see yourself clearly and say, I love you, Shelly. I love you, whatever your name is. Consider the strength of that. Not only are you looking with your eyes, you're looking with your third eye. Not only are you saying something verbally out loud, that's creating a vibration and a frequency that you will hear within your ears. It's sending out waves of energy. So it's very, very, very beneficial for people to do that. Part three, I think I'm at three here, I'm not sure. Another aspect of this is that sometimes it's a way of putting you into a place of meditation where it's like you're looking in the mirror that's looking in your eyes, that's looking deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's a way of taking you into a trance and taking you into a really deep, deep meditation. So you can use it in a form that's somewhat superficial, or you can find that it is something that takes you really deeply, deeply, deeply into a meditation and allows you to open up to that complete acceptance for who you are, self-love, self-awareness, and for so many people, that's a game changer. So great question. Thank you for asking me that. I would love to learn more about the soul and the lessons we choose as we reincarnate and how we experience these lessons as a human. And that is what is so important. Now, there are meditations, and in fact, I think Shelly, through the Goddess of Creation, has done over the years multiple meditations that take you back to before the time when you were born into this lifetime. And what you do during that meditation is you then like have a conversation with your soul. You have a conversation with the soul that is you, with those that are close. When you think about your soul group, there's you at the center, and then in concentric circles, those that are the closest of your soulmates or your twin flame or your different, whatever words you want to give to them, but those that are the closest in alignment with you, and you recognize, okay, these are going to be in this lifetime. And then you go out another layer, and you may have people that are, 5, 6, 7 layers out there, but yet they're truly important in this lifetime. And so it's not that your soulmates or the individuals that you are having the most growth are from that immediate close place. It can be several layers out, and yet they're still there, and it's still an important aspect of you in this lifetime. So before you came into this lifetime, you made those agreements. You said, okay, we're going to agree to get married, and we're going to agree to bring in X number of children, and we're going to agree to experience maybe something painful. We're going to, so you have these random ideas that you may put forth, and some of them, and this is how you're beginning to create the person that turns out to be the human that you are. So you're already taking on some of that conscious mental reaction that is setting you up for this lifetime. And You also are looking at what's happening in the earth at that time and projecting down, like 10 years, when I'm 10 years old, 20 years old, etc. What's the earth going to be going through? And for someone like Shelly, mid 60s, when she was born, at that time, that was when there was a call for many of the old souls. And so she knew coming in that there was going to be massive transformation. And she knew that there was a huge part of her mission, if you want to call it that, was going to be about, number one, coming into this soul love. Number two, understanding that with this ascension process, how to clear the karmic agreements of the past 100% and be present in the moment. And what does that look like, and how do you experience that? So any one of you listening to this, especially if you've been listening for a while, I can guarantee that this is like, yep, sounds familiar. Yep, I believe that was me too. So that's what's happening prior to when you come in. And sometimes, especially because this was going to be the end of an eon and the end of a cycle that was going to be so permanent. Many of you had like a laundry list of things from the past that needed to be cleared so that you could then ascend and be fully present in, in the new evolution that is taking place. So it's not simple. It's not just one or two things. It's filled with multiple different things. But anyway, that's how those agreements come about. And sometimes people are triggered, especially as the transparency of the energy and the frequency around you becomes, transparent as it is, then things that are a bleed over or a tide over from something else is going to be more present with you, where it was something that might have been buried deeply in your unconscious and you never even were aware of it in your whole lifetime. But great question. That was another good one. And Shelly, of course, oh yes, let's add this to the classes, those many classes that she's doing, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else? All right. Very good. Well, thank you. Oops, here's something. Do you see us living in unity in the near future? This is a great question too, because as I look at the planet, I see that vibration and frequency of unity is very prevalent. In fact, I see more of a level of unity than of discord. And the reason for that is because I'm seeing the layers and the levels of awareness that are transitioning. And so it's because the discord is what people give voice to. And it's what has been so prevalent on your planet for so long that everyone is accustomed to that. And therefore, they speak out the discord. But that level of unity just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And it is huge at this point. You may not agree, you may not see it that way, but from my perception, I see a massive amount of unity already present on the earth plane. Now, as I'm looking even 10, 15, 20 years in the future, that wave of unity gets stronger, stronger, stronger. However, this is the planet of free will. There's always going to be people saying, well, I'm going to experience this, I'm going to experience that. It will not be filled with the negativity that you have had and the torture and the warfare. That's not going to be a part of it. But there will still be people having different experiences because they choose to have those experiences. So the perception of unity is something that will transition over time. Okie doke. All righty. Good. That's great. Well, thank you for this opportunity. I'm sending out wave upon wave upon wave of love, of light, that you open up to receive that within you, that your heart center expands, and that you create unity first and foremost within yourself, and then this group, and then anybody else that you encounter in the next days and weeks. Thank you for joining me on Saluia. Greetings. It is I, Brysentia. As I'm sinking into this person and as I'm beginning to speak with you all this evening, I loved those questions that Crystallia was answering, because that is what we all are seeking. We all are seeking a way to accept ourselves through self-love. We are all seeking to have unity, starting within yourself, then your family, then your community, and then worldwide. So these are just wonderful things to think about. And anytime that someone is thinking about it, it's pinging that energy out into the consciousness. And anytime that energy goes out, and what I talk about as pinging is like it's sending a little impulse, and then that waves through the consciousness of your planet, and anybody else that may be also thinking about it, they send out their little ping, and that adds to it. So consider, I'm just laughing because I'm hearing you say, oh, well, let's start pinging each other, and there'll be a conversation on Telegram, ping. But I'm actually very, very, very optimistic about the way that things are happening on the planet. There is, I 100% agree with what Shelly said beforehand, in reference to some of the messages that she had gotten since the last time. And what is so important for people to understand is that you are living on this planet that was created as different continents, as different, what do you call them, countries. And within the countries, which, whether it's provinces or states or whatever the word is that you use it, but everybody throughout the time-space reality that we're looking back, meaning hundreds of thousands of years, everybody has been upon the earth plane, has been seeking to have community. There are obviously those that just want to live totally by themselves, totally isolated, and depend only on themselves, which is fine. But that's a very tiny, 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 minute aspect of people. The vast majority of people much prefer to be present on the earth plane, to be present with one another, to work as a community, and to feel as if they belong. It's that feeling of being different. It's that feeling of being ostracized. It's that feeling of just trying to understand who you are, what is going on, that makes people feel that discord. So moving forward, this is going to be even more important. And some of you may find that, okay, I don't really have a lot of people that I feel is what was it last time someone asked about their tribe? I don't really feel like I have a tribe. I don't really feel like I have my soul family. And so these are groups of people that you are creating yourself. And you are creating them through having the commonality of enjoying these channels. And of course, we are but responding to everything that you guys are putting out there. We are a reflection of you, you could say, but we are also coming from a different frequency that allows us to have a different perspective. So it's always been very, very important for people to feel like they had community. And as these corrupt individuals are coming down, be very, very, very clear that those corrupt individuals are representing a system that it's almost like what's the word you use? Like a bacteria that grew upon itself and grew and grew and grew. And that is the problem. Not all of the people in that country, not all of the people, even with the warfare that you've had, there are certain people that thought all of that race of people are bad. It was always groups of people within it that were fostering the negativity, that were fostering the warfare, that was fostering that discord and that separation between individuals. And so you have to understand that that's a very tiny portion when you look at the bigger number of who was living in that country. So for everybody else, like the average person like you guys that are here, you have still that alignment that you feel with your country. You have still that reverence and that support and that love that you have for the community that was created before you and that you have now chosen to join and be a part of. So remember that as you move forward and as you listen to these people that kind of go off the deep end because they're in fear or they're panicking or they don't understand. Just be compassionate and remind them that you're really mad at the group of people that have already been taken down. You're really mad at the fact that the name of my country has been used in such a horrific way, and that you're really mad at the fact that something that you respected and thought was a part, meaning for many of you, the royals, that you felt like was a part of your history and a part of your culture, and then to understand that it was something totally different, and that as the truth comes out, it will be very, very hard for people. So continue to remind them that no, you first and foremost are a human. No, you first and foremost are a living representation of your soul. Can you just hear yourself saying that to everyone? There you are out at the restaurant. Oh, no, no. Don't get caught up in that. Stay in the fact that you are a beautiful big soul that is going through this moment in time. Because that's what it is, a moment in time. I don't know of a single person that has gone through their life and never ever had a moment in time when things were hard, when things were disrupted, when things were in a crisis, when your heart was broken, when you struggled and struggled and struggled. So be aware that yes, that's happening to you, and now that's happening on a global level. So disconnect, let all of that schmuck just come out and be cleared out. But remember that you are still in alignment with one another. You as humanity are the ones that are going to pull through all of this. And as you listen to the people that just regurgitate over and over and over again the bad things that are going to happen, well, that's their reality. What is your reality, and what vibration do you want to put out to the world? And when I say this, I'm not saying that negative things aren't going to be happening. They are. But don't get caught up in it. Keep the balance, keep the energy of who you are, and let that be the forefront. So that being said, going back to that one question that someone had, is something going to happen on Memorial Day? Is May going to be the month when so much disclosure comes out? It is going to be the month, and it has been coming out. But one thing that Crystallia was talking about that, from her perception was it was put out there and swiped away. So there has been a great deal of disclosure that has come out, and it has literally been erased from the computers. There seems to be a program or something that is being run where people are posting and people are writing about things. Probably not Shelly, no offense to Shelly, but those that have the millions of followers or the hundreds of thousands of followers, where they're posting and writing about things, and then whether it's AI or something else coming behind it, wipes it out. And so people don't see it. People that, that it was intended to educate, they're not able to see it. So that's one thing that is continuing to happen. But the question always is, when are you just going to say that the last elections were fraudulent and these elections are not going to happen? And that is not going to come out this month, because it is felt that it was more important to be able to transition your financial system, which, as you know, happened 2 years ago. You have been in this new energy and the higher monitor, the higher flowing money system already for 2 years. So that is going to be one of the first things that comes out. And where everyone keeps picking up on and saying, oh, it's going to crash the stock market, it's going to crash your bank, you're not going to use it. It's not going to happen like that. We keep looking and trying to see, where do people pick up on that? And all we can imagine is they're picking up on something that was put forth as an intention when the nefarious ones were in charge, and it still somehow is energetically within that timeline. We don't see it. We know it's not going to happen, but for those that are vibrating at that lower frequency, they're the ones that can pick up on it and see it. But it's just not going to happen, because it will eventually just dissolve and go away. There have been universal beings that have been working with this energy to create greater clarity, to get rid of anything like that that may still be a residual out there. But that it for whatever reason, it keeps populating. So what is that telling us? That our perception is that the vast majority of the nefarious ones are gone. And they are, especially those that were at the top and the middle levels of it. However, those that are stuck in the bottom, the bottom feeders, as some of you call them, they're still out there enough to wreak havoc. What I do want to salute and understand is that when you look worldwide at what has happened in the last 8 years, it is massive. It is massive, the number of people that have been taken down. It is massive, the number of people that have transitioned over into, that are maybe playing a part in this temporary experience right now. But those that are truly in the negative way, there are getting to be less and less and less numbers of them, but there's still enough of them there that they keep spewing out these lies. They keep spewing out these things to create anxiety and fear. And every time they post that, then something can come in and take them out and take them down. There are still a few that are out there. Like, let me think, the last time I looked at this, several months ago, I believe. And even since just 1 or 2 months ago, there is way less of those individuals on the earth right now. So it is working. The ascension is working. You are moving forward. And, you cannot change people overnight. And if people are still in train, think about how many people are not spiritual. Think about how many people are just very much in their mind and think, I know everything logically, I know everything intellectually, and until it's been proven to me, that's where I'm going to stay. There's a lot of people in humanity that are like that. And so that creates a vibration and an awareness, and perhaps that is a part of what other people are tapping into. We've said, I think, thousands of times that this is a spiritual ascension. So that spiritual ascension means that every single person needs to understand that they are more than that analytical mind and that part of them that just needs to know in black and white. They need to accept and understand that their soul is truly what is behind everything that is creating them in their life. And that analytical thinking is critical, it's essential, but it is not the only thing. So that merging, that blending of the soul and the divine with the human experience is a major part of this ascension. And you just happen to have been, because that was what the programming wanted. The programming wanted you to become AI. It wanted you to let go of your spirituality and your divinity, and because you're much easier to control and manipulate when you are less than, or when you are only this lifetime, or when you have nothing else but this lifetime, and then they start taking things away from you. Of course, you're going to shrink smaller, smaller, smaller. Not going to happen. Be your big, huge self as you live your life. Coming back to this month again. So to me, my perception is that the financial change is going to be one of the first things that comes out. As they are talking about that, they will also be talking about the fact that they cannot go on without having a point in time that they tell you everything about the Khazarian mafia, about the Draconians, about the not the Draconians, I'm sorry, about the reptilians, about these other things that have had control, and about the fact that you are more than just this planet. You are a part of a conscious universe, and that they know that, and they are connected to it, and that they have been working with it throughout this whole process. So that will also talk about the littles and what was done to them. I believe you know what I'm talking about, and how this human trafficking that has been so rampant, and what caused it, and where and how it expanded to the level that it did. All of that is coming out, and I know that some people keep talking about it later on, but my perception of it is that it is coming out this month in one form or another. And talking about Memorial Day and that last week of the month, that's a potential. There's also in numerology, June 6th, which was what you call D-Day. It was no mistake that that was the day that that invasion took place, and that that was going to be the end of that part of the war. And so that's another potential that it could be on that day. The question has always been, are we going to have days of darkness? Is the whole communication system going to come down? What's going to happen? The whole communication system is never going to come down. We have never believed that to be the case. However, this information will be put out there, and nobody can get around it. Everybody will be forced to read it, listen to it, howsoever it goes on. The images, the films that have been created about this have been created and updated and shifted and changed. I believe they're on like a version 100 and something of what they wanted to do. And in some ways, when they wanted to put this all out there to you 4 years ago, then it was, of course, a lot softer. Now that so many more people are aware of what's going on, they've added a lot more detail to things so that people can know. And this is what we really feel very strongly, that if it doesn't come out in its completion, it will at least be initiated throughout this month of May and into early June. Okay, how about that? I said that, not Albayon. But we both work very closely with one another, and we both feel, and we both work very closely with those that are in charge of this, and those that are doing this. Oh, something just popped through our mind that someone had written on one of Shelly's things about who can believe a channel and what is a channel. So believe or not believe, whatever resonates with you. There are many, many, many people that are channeling that don't consider it channeling. There are many, many people that are receiving information directly from soul, and perhaps from their guardian angels or light beings, whomever it may be. So it comes back into, what is that individual saying? Where are they getting the information? Does it resonate with me? Am I going to believe it? Am I going to disbelieve it? It all comes back to you and the choices that you make. So it sometimes becomes, this is also a part of the ascension process, is that you learn to recognize what resonates with you. I just heard that. Okay. So when you hear something that you don't want to hear, you may say, oh my God, that doesn't resonate with me. However, the seeds may go into you, and they may percolate for you. And you may find that you just have to give it time. You have to evolve. You have to do some research to say, was this just really off the wall, or is there some truth in it? And you do your research, or you meditate about it, or you pray about it, whatever it is that you need to do. And that's when you may find, oh, okay, there is truth to that. And that's how you grow. That's how you change. That's how you evolve. Okay. Those are my messages for tonight, Alexander. Are there questions for me? Do you know what the large anomaly is that is in the water above Antarctica and near Africa? Is it causing it is causing many large waves, and some are calling it a Leviathan, Leviathan. Cool. Let me look at that. It is something that comes from the ocean waters. It is something that is rising up from within the depths of the water. It is a Leviathan, a Leviathan. Um, I don't know that you would necessarily call it that. It is because the Leviathan that I'm thinking about is a type of animal, and this feels like it is animalistic. However, it feels like it's more like a ship, or it's more like a something that goes out into the universe and goes into the waters, and it's staying there, and it is sending out frequencies, and it is sending out waves, and some of those waves are probably hard for the coastline or for the ships in the area. But it is also, the intention of it being there is to send out waves and vibrations and frequencies that are going to make changes with everything that is going on. It is a way of clearing out. Since it's close to Antarctica, it feels to us like it came from under the ice, and again, I'm seeing it more as a ship and not as a animal, like a Nessie type animal. I'm seeing it more as a ship. It does look somewhat like a whale, or it does look somewhat like an animal, but it feels to me like it's a ship. There was something else I wanted to say as I was talking about that. Hmm. There is so much that we talked last time about things that were buried in the water, or things that were deep in the water that are portals out into the universe and into the earth plane. And this area feels as if it is one. It feels like it's a very sacred space, and it's connected to a part of Antarctica that is a very sacred space, and it is clearing the energy of that, because there was a lot of darkness in this part of the world, and much of that darkness has already been cleared out. But this is now changing the frequency, and it's like radiating out in concentric circles, as it is clearing out more than just the place in which it is. Some of this, when we go back to Antarctica, as we've talked to you about many, many times before, that which was the nefarious ones had taken over a part of Antarctica, and they were trying very desperately to get into the center of the earth and get into those that were the magical part of the earth plane that has been there, and they never could, because they didn't have the right vibration and frequency, and they would get I shouldn't laugh, but some of them would come and they would take ETs, or high vibrational beings, thinking that they can torture them or do something to take their high vibration to be their entrance. And of course, what are you doing? You're lowering the frequency because you're trying to force something. So they were never successful. But this is associated with the sacred aspect of Antarctica, and it is coming up at this time as a means of shifting the vibration and frequency and creating this alignment that goes deep within the earth. Can you speak more about the new DNA upgrades? What is being rewired, and what it may feel like when an individual is going through this, particularly in the head, eye, and brain area? One of the first aspects that was associated with the upgrade in the DNA had to do with your heart center, because that goes with the ascension. That goes with the higher consciousness, that goes with your link to your soul, and so many different things that had to take place. Whew, Shelly thought, oh, here goes the computer again, but no, it's not. Had to take place. So the heart center was like phase one. When you're talking about your third eye, your pineal gland, you're talking about headaches, you're talking about some of the frequencies and the things that are changing. Okay, I just heard that. So you had, basically, you thought only two strands of DNA were activated. That was all that humanity was able to perceive. Everyone has actually had more than those two strands activated already on the earth plane. And so this is what we're talking about, like up at the 8th to 10th to 12th strands of DNA are the ones that are associated with your psychic ability. And through that psychic ability, that's expanding your DNA, expanding your intuition, that's expanding that way of communicating with your soul and your higher self. And so the way that that's coming in then is coming in through your head center. Now, back in the back of your head is like where the crystalline energy is coming in, but that kind of encompasses all of your head. So it may be anchored back here in, what do you call it, the medulla oblongata, but it is coming out and it is this huge, like, you know what they would show those astronauts that would go up and they have that hat around them. So this is anchoring in here and it's coming out and around you as an energy field that is anchoring the crystalline energies within you. So then as it comes into the physical aspects of you, it's coming in through the top of your head, your third eye, of course, your throat center. And all of these are the ones that are focusing upon expanding your consciousness. And because all of your unconsciousness is linked through the back of your head also, or through the aspects of your brain that have not become fully activated. So as your brain becomes more activated, that's a part of where that discernment comes from. That's a part of where the expanded intuition comes from. And that is affecting your third eye, your pineal gland, and just those parts of your brain that are helping you to be who you are and where you are and what is going. And so those are the higher strands. That is what will have you fully activated into the 12 strands of your DNA. And this is something that is most easily done for just about everyone. It's something that has been like in a blueprint for you, and now you're expanding into that blueprint with all of these solar flares that are coming in and with the eclipses that you've had. All of that is what's working through these areas to activate them. So then you think about, okay, so we just had that big solar flare. What was it doing? So a solar flare is an energy that comes sometimes from the central sun, sometimes it comes from other parts of the universe, but it's like a pulsation of light, or it's a pulsation of energy. Sometimes it comes in a pulse like this, sometimes it's a solid strand. There are different ways, and sometimes it's just a light that just comes into a space. Sometimes it's like a column of light that comes down. Many different ways. And most often when people think of the column of light, they're thinking of themselves individually. But think about it, if you will, that there's a column of light that is wider than the planet, and it comes down over the planet, and it's moving through the entire planet. And what that is doing is when it's sending out through its frequency little impulses of energy or light that are then tinging or pinging, there's that word again, that it's activating things that are in your DNA, that are flowing through your body, that is flowing through your blood, that is within your brain, within the muscles, within the ligaments, within the consciousness. And this is what is activating and beginning to vibrate differently. And as it's vibrating differently, it causes your third eye to open up more. It causes that pineal gland to be activated. It opens up that the consciousness that you receive from your soul. So all of these things in your upper energy bodies, that's what's happening with these solar flares, and as this part of you is getting activated. So what are the symptoms that you may have? Some people may have blurred vision. Some people may have headaches. Some people may feel a deep pressure in their third eye. As a matter of fact, Shelly, when she was re-listening to the recent channel from Albayon, she was driving in the car, and as she did so, she just felt like her third eye was like as big as her forehead, and it was just was, and not intense in a bad way, but she could just feel the pressure of this huge pressure that was right up in her third eye. So what was happening then as she was driving? Well, it was like normal because she's accustomed to her third eye being open. But if you are not, and like right now, she's, she can feel it too. And for those of you that can see energies, you may see that energy. But So as this is opening up for you, it may feel like pressure. It may give you blurred vision. It may give you double vision. It may give you headaches. It may cause you to hear ringing in your ears. And all of those things will resolve, and you can resolve them by literally opening up your energy field and having the energy run through you. When it comes in and it's pinging around and it's activating things here, it's staying in that space, and that amplifies symptoms of discomfort. So by moving it through you, sending it outward, you will feel better, and it will help it to activate more easily. So you can consider this in any one of the chakras, and you will find, I mean, most of you already know there's way more than the 7 chakras in your body. And so as these different levels of your DNA are activated, it's also activating other chakras that you might not be aware of. And so you may find that these energy, and what's a chakra? An energy body. So you may find that as these energy bodies are becoming activated within you, then you're going to feel things maybe in your shoulders, maybe in your hands, maybe in your feet. So different parts of you may also begin to feel that change and transition. So it's exciting. It's very exciting. And for some, not for many, but for a few of you, it may be that you just wake up one day and suddenly, wow, the world is different. I'm different. And it's all kind of happened very quickly. For the vast majority of humanity, it's going to come more slowly. It's going to be an integration process. And then over a period of time, people begin to recognize the changes that have taken place. Okay, next question. Oh, sorry. Shelly's cursor was on something and she thought, oh dear. Did you feel that we could have a lockdown in early June and a clearing out of the remaining evil? Do you think that the person Pascal Najadi is sharing the truth? I don't think there's going to be a worldwide lockdown. I just don't. I think that there may be roaming lockdowns that will take place for the intention of removing large numbers of people. That name that you mentioned, Pascal, was it Pascal, the first name or the last name? Pascal Najadi? Let me look into that individual. So Pascal Najadi has a lot of information, and I feel that his information is accurate in many different ways. However, he is being given misinformation so as not to let nefarious ones know what is going on. So the dates and times, I mean, heck, same goes for us. Not that we think a lot of people are listening to this, but who knows? You never know. And we think that the people that hear this are the ones that really need it, and the ones that it lets you, create the things that you need to know or do in your life. But for this individual and the information that is being given, a lot of his information is very, very accurate, and he is genuine, and he has, we see him as having worked both sides, so to speak. But when he talks about, yeah, that is a potential. That is a potential, but we don't see it happening like that. Any other questions? Will we have access to travel devices to instantly go anywhere on the planet? By travel devices, what are you talking about? Like an airplane type thing or a car type thing that teleports you place to place? If that's what you mean, because that's what I'm picking up on, absolutely that will be available, but not anytime soon. Don't hold your breath. There is so much more in your everyday life that needs to evolve, and we need to bring all the rest of humanity up to the higher level of vibration and frequency. And then once that happens, and once people begin to understand that these portals can take you anywhere, in minutes as opposed to hours, then there will be much more of that will be available to the average person. But I don't see things like that even 5 years down the road. There may be for some, but not for the average person in their everyday life. That's, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years down. It's way down the road. I couldn't even begin to say. Anything else? Okay. Well, we're looking at the time, and it's time probably for Albayon anyway. So thank you for sharing your time with me this evening. I so appreciate it, and I am continuing to integrate more and more of my energies, and I am spending more time walking as a human on the planet. So be aware that maybe it's me that's with you or someone else that's with you, but there are many, many, many other individuals that are coming with me to be present on the planet to help anchor this energy. So it's an exciting time, and I'm very thrilled to be able to communicate with you in this way. Thank you. Ansaluia. Greetings. It is I, Albayon. As I'm settling into this energy to begin to do this third leg of this journey, I'm thinking back to what I just talked about a week ago. And that into the storm, or the storm is here, or the storm is upon us. Those are some phrases that have been used by a number of different people that are out in the truth community. And I wanted to speak those particular because, number one, it's exactly where you are on the planet, but it also is something that is, hearing phrases like that will activate certain people into beginning to look around. And by that, I mean those that may not be as aware of other things as the remainder of you are. So understand that what is considered the storm can be very different by different people's perspectives. For some people, the storm may be that the average person is now aware of the massive amount of corruption that's gone on in the world and how it's affected every person. That's pretty huge. The storm may be that the fighting that has been taking place, some in the background, some in the forefront, some on your streets, some by the negative people putting out there things that are instigating fighting, that may be the storm that is referred to. For others, the storm may be the fact that it's done and it's now going to be told about to the world, but we're actually coming to a place of balance and peace. So it's interesting to use a phrase and to put a phrase out there and just see what the reactions are that people have. You could even ask yourself that. What is my perception that the storm is here and happening? When you consider how long we have been having these conversations, when you consider the number of times that we've said, oh my goodness, look at it now, look what's happening. There have been multitudes of different experiences, and every single time there's been something major that has come out. So this ascension and this release of information has been intentionally experienced in wave upon wave upon wave. One of the things that people have been asking about is the first person that they're going to talk about the corruption going to be the Pope? And that's a high probability. There, most of you already know, okay, yep, he was behind a lot of this, or he was one of the kingpins, you could say, that was orchestrating all of this. And what he represented was not the least bit of what the average human thought of. So that feels to me like it was going to come out at Easter time. You know, that was going to be the sign, oh, look who's here, and oh, it's not him. And what society got was that he wasn't there, that he didn't show up. And of course, he was sick or something like that. They are choosing to go with, you know, King Charles is going to die of cancer. All of these different people are going to die of various medical illnesses, and that's a way of easing it out for the majority of society. But there comes a point when you cannot keep doing that, when it has to come out. And that's when you'll hear he's been dead for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever the length of time is. And that's what I sense is coming up this month. And is it going to be the Pope? Is it going to be Biden? Is it going to be the royalty? Who is it going to be? It can be any number of those, and it will still have a huge impact upon the world. Not Biden as much as the Pope or royalty, because this royalty is talking about all of the royalty around the world that's also interconnected with one another. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll explain myself in a second. I think some of you know what's going on. Okay. As we were having that conversation just now, Shelly began noticing faces outside her house. And so we cleared out, and they were not nice. They were the nefarious type things. So we were just clearing everything out. Every time we blew out that energy, it was sending balls of energy that went out from where we're sitting right here. And it cleared out her entire house, her entire land around her house. And we had to do it because it was like they'd clear them out, they'd come back, they'd clear out, they'd come back. And so we cleared it out until it's completely gone. And then she sank, what's the word? Anchored in a new level of protection. You can call it protection, you can call it a filter, you can call it whatever you like. The point is that energy did not come in. That energy was there. And it's because of the subject that we were just talking about. And it is sending out the frequency. As you know, anytime we talk, it's sending out waves of energy and waves of frequencies. And so what happened, and this is what we like to do a lot, we've done it multiple different times. We tap into whatever that energy is that she was perceiving from that human perspective. And then there's many other beings that are with us, and they find its source from where it's being put out, and then they clear out that also. So she just kept sending waves and waves of clearing out. And I believe this, most of you already are aware of this, that's what was going on. But for anyone that was not, that's what was going on. And it was because of the topic of conversation. And that's telling us that we've probably spoken about it enough for this evening. But you get the gist that there are going to be, and I still agree, I still feel like it's happening this month and early June. Is when those announcements are going to be made, and those announcements are going to come hand in hand with the, what do you call it, the EBS that is then going to tell you everything that's been going on. Because once you let that out of the bag, you will no longer have the falsities that's on CNN. CNN, the mainstream media is going to immediately be flipped over and switched because they'll be taken down. You'll see many of them being taken off. They will no longer be the faces that you see before you, and other people will come back after this is done. I do not think it's going to shut the entire world down. And, there'll still be the flights, there'll still be the businesses, there'll still be the banking. All of these things will continue to go on, but there will be a degree that will be shut down as any last residual gets picked up. Whew, that was unexpected, wasn't it? But you can see from our perspective how we handle something like that. And if you ever have that experience for yourself, you now have a tool that you can also use. Another thing that you can go around, because Shelly was just saying, well, should I even sage in addition? You can. You know, many people have different ways in which they like to clear the energy of their home. And so, you know, of course, saging is one, using burning cedar is another. There's many different things that people can do. Doing the energy work, she does not need to do anything else unless it makes her feel better. And it's a way of bringing that down into the physical. You know, she's also saying that this, like she's got essential oils, and so sometimes if there's something that feels closer, you know, just spraying the essential oils. So there's many different things that you can do, and it's about recognizing what resonates with you and doing that. Okay, let's go on to questions. Albayon, I love listening to you. Thank you so very much. I would like to know about the situation in Spain. Okay, we have not looked at Spain before, have we? If you go up to the mountains in northern Spain, there is some very ancient lineage that go deep beneath those mountains. And so they're back probably 1500 to 1800 years ago, maybe not as long as that. No, actually longer. Back during the Roman times, there were areas that were built up in that because it was drawing on these ancient energies that were in these mountains. And so when the nefarious ones began to spread out across the world in the way that they did, they specifically put caps on these places and tried to downplay them and tried to say, you know, there were lies about them, tried to, you know, they do their shenanigans to make you not believe the spirituality or the beautiful energy that was coming out of it. They tried to corrupt it. So there has been a release of that, and as that's moving through, it feels like there is a great deal of transition that's going on in Spain. There's a lot of people that still believe in the monarchy that they have. There's a lot of people that have seen the nefarious ones working out through, what do they call them, the gypsies. And so there's a lot of crime that's going on right now, but that's always been there. However, it's gotten worse, it feels like, in the most recent times. And this feels to us as if this is some of the negativity that's being shown to be much more prevalent at the moment. And it is all clearing out. It is all in the process of clearing out. And that as it clears out, there is this beautiful vibration and frequency that is going to be coming out, that is going to just make Spain be a sacred space once again in the not so distant future. As you know, through the, what did they call that? There was something they called it, where they used the religious, you know, the Catholic Church to torture people. And you know, that was a perfect example of the control and manipulation. And so some of that ancient history is entrained within the earth there, and so that's in the process of being cleared out. There have been a lot of those subterranean pathways that are being cleared out, and to us, as we look at it, it feels like the overlay that kind of kept everything suppressed has been removed, and that these natural vibration and frequencies are starting to come up, and as it does so, it shows you the negativity that's going on. It does not feel, it feels as if people are aware that there's been some change or something has happened with the royalty there, but it doesn't feel like they think that they've necessarily been taken out. But we do not see them there in any sort of, well, they haven't been in any sort of power for a long time. They've been a figurehead. But as I'm looking at the country and as I'm looking for these individuals, I don't perceive them. I just don't have a sense of them. So if they're still there, then they've either transitioned. Oh, very interesting. Something just came into my consciousness that in this younger generation, through many different of these royal homes or many of these families that have been so nefarious, they're the ones that have been bringing the information to help take them down, because they came in with a new soul contract, which was to take them down. So it feels like there's someone that was part of that Spanish royal family that was a part of this. And it feels like in a couple of other places throughout Europe, where they have actually been, not that they're going to take over and become the new royalty in that space. It's like they want it gone. They want it done. And so that's what it feels like is going to be the future of that. So Spain, as with the rest of the world, is going to be completely fine, but they are going through a big transition right now. Whew. All right. If all of a sudden your body gets very cold and the temperature in your room drops, does that mean it's a past soul that is coming to visit or something else? It could absolutely mean that, because when a soul brings like the osmosis, you might say, or some of that osmolarity that comes from being human, then if it's bringing with it that type of vibration, you can feel it as the physical coolness around you. But many times souls will come to you as a consciousness, and sometimes just the difference in vibration may cause you to feel hot or cold. It's that difference in, like frequently as Shelly is channeling, she gets very hot, as you've seen. And then other times, as as that energy then all shifts away, she'll be very cold. So it's that change in vibration that can cause people to feel this. It's mostly the fact that something of a different frequency is around you. Is it a passed over loved one? Is it a light being? Is it an angel, a guardian angel? It could be any of those number of things. So ask, who's here? And then open up your energy and feel the essence as it comes into you. Can you talk about what's happening in Australia? So actually, Australia is looking very good to us. We know that we've looked at this before, and it looked like they had such a heavy overlay. However, as I'm looking at it now, I don't see that heavy overlay that I have seen in other times when I've looked at Australia. So they may be showing you the rhetoric that they're still stuck, or that, and all the radicalization that's been going on in the United States has also been going on in Australia. It's also been going on in Europe. And so all of these different things that have been showing the what do you call it? Well, the evil or the violence. There's been a lot of that in Australia over the last several years. But to me, as I'm looking at the energy of Australia, finally that overlay that I just was, nope, still has an overlay. Nope. To me, it looks gone. So how everything happens energetically, and then it happens in your everyday reality. So now that I see that the overlay is gone, a lot of these changes are going to be happening just very quickly. It feels like one thing after the other will happen. It will be the disclosure of the government. It will be the disclosure of the things that have been done over the past. And so I see big changes coming on. Spanish Inquisition. Yes, that's what I was trying to remember. Thank you for sharing that. Is what we know as Earth in a synod of our much larger planet, and only 20%. There's more beyond Antarctica. Heard that on being inspired with Q as a BBS radio station. So what you know as your planet Earth is not necessarily the reality of your planet Earth. Earth is a massive consciousness, and so everything that you've known about Earth has come to you through the consciousness of which you were aware. There is still a spherical planet that is interconnected with the other planets. There is a depth that you think of as going inside, but there's also a depth that is around it. And so this is another way of thinking about this. Is in the past, when people have ascended off the Earth plane, but they still wanted the Earth experience, they were on a different perspective of Earth, and they called it Earth, and it was Earth, but it didn't have all the negativity that you have had. So this merging together of these multiple perspectives of what Earth is a part of this ascension process. So in the future, when you look at your planet, you will discern that in some ways it is much bigger than what you thought of it before. All of those, I'm going to say it again, it is not flat. It is the perception that people have of it being flat, but anything within your planet where it interacts with other planets and the waves of energy, communicate with one another, there has to be a sphere of some sort that is interacting with it. So yes, you will find that your perception of the Earth will be quite different in the years to come. And some of that will be the consciousness, some of that will be the physicality of your Earth. That be aware, people are not just going to blandly, like, you're not going to travel to Europe and I'm just going to go to the inner Earth. It's not going to happen for at least 50 or 100 years. The vibration is not that high, and it's very, very, very protected in there. And much of what they speak about that is a part of Antarctica is that entrance into the realm that is the inner Earth. And it is not just gonna, it's just not gonna be open to travel in the way that some people would like for it to be. But it is very well protected. And also it is about the frequency and the vibration. And so maybe an individual can go there energetically, but because they're going with the higher vibration and frequency, but to bring their physicality and to go into it, I don't see that happening anytime soon. But you will understand that the Earth plane and your whole entire universe and the multiverse, everything is different than what you've thought it was. And part of the reason for that is that you thought of what it was because that's what your consciousness understood. And so as your consciousness grows and expands, so too does your reality grow and expand. Okay, starting to get a little tired, but let's see if there's another one or two. I want to ask how I can believe your predictions while there is no evidence. Exactly. Did we not just talk about this? Are there people that want to know A, B, C, D, and if they don't, it's not real? Are you telling all those predictions just to create such a reality? Well, it isn't actually what truly is currently happening. We've talked before. I mean, this is multiple levels of what we've already been speaking about. And so the reality of what is happening is exactly as we're speaking about it. The people that are vibrating and living at a reality that is focusing upon discord and things that are not, that is what is happening to them. The people that are focusing on just light, vibration, and being in peace and balance, that is what is happening to them. So it is where you place your emphasis, it is where you place your focus, and that is what manifests in and around you. So all of these things are all happening at the same time. And we used to call them, well, that timeline where there was violence or that timeline where there was peace. These are all the timelines. They're all merging together at the same time. But it's where you place your focus that creates your reality. And if your focus and your reality is all the discord that's going on, and you don't open up to the potential that there's something else different that is also happening, then you're going to stay in that discord. But if you say, well, I heard this channel and they said some stuff and, it's not really making sense according to what I see over here, but maybe it's the truth. That allows you to then walk between or energetically move between these different potentials that are going on. And the more that you open up to the different potentials, the more your reality expands and the more it pulls those negative realities up into something that is much more positive. Because you've heard us before, there may be people that come in and say, nope, didn't happen, you were wrong again. I guarantee you there will be people that will say that to me. And it's like, okay, that is your truth, that is your reality. But there is so much that is happening, and it is happening, and it is coming out. So where do you want your focus to be? Do you want your focus to be on things that are growing, evolving, changing? Or do you want your focus to be upon that discord going on and on and on and on and on endlessly? You have to make a change. You have to change your thoughts and your beliefs. And as you do so, then you see more and more of what you are now focusing upon. All right. Any others? Will the satanic buildings be removed, i.e. the Vatican, the White House, Buckingham Palace? Yes. Most of these satanic things will come down. Some they may leave as a reminder of what was, so that other people can look at it and say, oh, why is that there? Oh, do you remember what happened? So it doesn't feel like everything's going to come down 100%, but a great deal will be removed because they just simply don't want it there anymore. And like, for example, in the Vatican, all those negative, with the snake things and all those really negative, nasty places, that's all going to come down. But there will be certain things that will be left as a reminder to teach people of what was. All right. Anything else? Well, thank you so much for bringing this up. We truly appreciate it. All three of us love these opportunities, and know that we are all doing more and more with each one of you, as each one of you are doing more and more within yourself. Be present. Be very aware of where you are focusing your thoughts. Obviously, be open to these other realities, but where are you focusing and where's your intention? Beloved, I am ever here with you, Ansaluia. Whew. All righty. Hi, everyone. This is Shelly. Well, that was sure freaky, wasn't it? I've had that happen to me before. That's not the first time. Interesting that it came through at this time, but I think it was the topic that they were talking about that I'm not going to go back into. But they fixed it, and you can do the same too. Whew, boy, I'm really drained all of a sudden. What was it? There was something else I was going to say. I don't know. My mind is gone. But thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care. Bye-bye.